It may come as a shock to some people, but there is more than one game system than 5e. I know, it's crazy. But here's the thing 5e does what it does well, and it's totally awesome. It's popping off, it's getting more people into the hobby than any other game ever. But it's important to recognize that there is plenty of other game systems that could fill in the type of game that you want to play. I wanted to show off a few of these games, and then I want to talk about why we should play other game systems. So here we have Call of Cthulhu. Classic stuff. You can set that into any age and it works fine. You can have it be modern, you could have it be the 20s, the 50s, you could have it be in Roman times, you can have it all over the place. And you can have that awesome feeling of being a pathetic little human that is going up against the strange and the unknown. Or you could ramp it up and say that it's going to be pulpy style and you're going to have Tommy guns and you're going to be shooting Nazi zombies and stuff. You can totally have that feeling and it works just fine. We have old school essentials. If you want to take on original D&D, there you go, right there. It spells it out perfectly and it works totally great. Warhammer Fantasy. If you want gritty, hardcore fantasy in a totally polarizing world, that's your ticket right there. Plus, it's a D100 system, so if you get tired of that D20 and want fantasy with a little bit of D100s, there you go. Blades in the Dark. Industrial urban fantasy with you going up against whatever is controlling your area and you dealing with the oppressive society. You know, Blades in the Dark, totally fun there. Dungeon Crawl Classics. Weird fantasy. Awesome, weird, wacky magics. Totally fantastic. Mothership, sci-fi that's gritty and hardcore and scary. There's actual stress and stuff involved. Stars Without Numbers, sci-fi that's not as dark and creepy, but it can be, of course. Stars Without Numbers, classic sci-fi there. Lancer, you want to get into mechs and get into a war game like battle style, but then also have some fun RP on the side. Totally great. Paranoia. Paranoia just I can't even get into the game because one of the rules of Paranoia is that you're not allowed to know the rules. So if that intrigues you right there, then maybe you should look that up. Vampire the Masquerade. I'm sure y'all know what's up with Vampire the Masquerade. So why look at other games? Well, it's because we can hit up different things. Fantasy, sci-fi, or something else. Yes, 5e theoretically can do everything, but I'm here to tell you that it probably can't do everything the best. You probably don't want a system that's a jack of all trades. You want a system that's a king in its own regard. So yeah, 5e does exactly what it does. It does high fantasy, high pulp action adventure, but maybe you want something else. Do you want a lower fantasy? Do you want a mid fantasy? Do you want sci-fi? Do you want something that's completely unique? Do you want no fantasy at all? Do you want no sci-fi at all? Call Cthulhu, right? Whole bunch of different things. Genres of the game. Do you want hardcore? Do you want whimsical? Do you want nitty gritty? Do you want rules heavy? Do you want rules light? Different genres can be reached with these different game systems. Variety for variety's sake. Just try something out. Because I promise you, if you try out other game systems, it's going to reaffirm your beliefs in your love that you have for your one particular game system. Or two, you may discover that there is something else out there and maybe you'll start playing more game systems. And look at that, unique game systems. Yes, 5e has its own unique game systems, but all these other systems have their own unique things. And you can play the games and play in those unique game systems. Also, another fun thing you can do is you can try and port those over to your own preferred game system and you create a Frankenstein of a game that works well for you and your party. That could be a great time. And also unique stories and adventures. Quite frankly, because of how game systems are made and what is on your character sheet, that dictates the stories and adventures therein. If you use a different game system, you are going to get a different story and adventure out of it. Perfect example of that being, you could run the exact same adventure module, but use different game systems, and I absolutely promise you, if you do that, you're going to get a wholly different experience. And that's awesome. We want that variety. So as I take one last look at all of these fun different gaming systems, there is of course hundreds of thousands more just waiting out there, waiting to be explored. There's so many things out there that I promise you your party could enjoy. Maybe not for a full campaign, maybe just try it out for a one-shot. I recommend that you try out different game systems for one-shots and little mini adventures. It's the way to go. Try out different things, expand your horizons, and allow for other game systems to really showcase off what you are looking for in your games and potentially what you might not like in your games. Go ahead and tell me, have you played any of these that are listed here? I've played a decent majority of them. Not all of them, though, sadly. But I want to. I want to try them all because variety's the spice of life in our tabletop role-playing games. Go ahead and tell me what are the game systems you've been trying out. If you're waiting to dip your toes in, go ahead and tell me all about that because I would love to hear it. But that's going to do it from me. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. And thank you to my amazing patrons. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so very much. And I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.